time to clean this place up a little bit. Got the cleanup done, and now it's time to get into the boxes. I've got the screened separator boards, and now I'm going to start going into the boxes that are double and checking them and putting one of these between it, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this and figure out which hives have swarmed and check for that issue as well. But I don't want to put this on a box that already swarmed. I want to put this on boxes that have a queen still. So that's what we got to try to figure out while we go through. I have my double screen separator board. You can see there's a screen on the top and the bottom, and that's to keep the bees from the top box and the bottom box touching each other. The queen runs all through the hive, and she leaves a pheromone everywhere. And as the bees walk around, they carry the pheromone everywhere too. So if we separate these two boxes and the queen is in one, she's putting that pheromone all around one box, and those bees are moving it around. But the other bees in the other box are not touching that. After a couple of days, they're gonna notice that there's no queen, or they're gonna believe there's no queen, even though she's in the other box, and they're gonna make an emergency cell. So that's what this is for, and we're gonna get into this box and see, we're gonna see this situation, if there's swarm cells or not. Like you've seen in the previous videos, we've caught a couple of swarms. So if there's swarm cells, we're not gonna be able to do this, but if there isn't, then we're just in time. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna take this box and set it up. And the way that they're kind of fired up makes me feel like they're protecting everything, you know, and maybe they have a queen in here that they're trying to protect too. So I'm just gonna lean this box up and look underneath. And wouldn't you know it, what do you think's going on? We've got queen cells. So I'm gonna not mess with this box, I'm gonna go to the one next to it, and just to see, I'm gonna keep checking for queen cells, and if we have them, I think it's gonna be time to just split the boxes apart and do the splits the old-fashioned way. Checking for queen cells, take two. We've got some, but we're not as far advanced on it. On the top ones anyways. Let's see. Got anybody in there? They do. Next plan. That one doesn't really have it built up too much. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna try something different. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and put that separator board on. So this is gonna be a little trial and error here. What I'm gonna do, put this on and put this back in there. I don't know if the queen is in the top or the bottom box, but those queen cells aren't quite finished up. Well, everybody will be happy to know that I just got my first sting of the season right in my shin bone, through my pants. I don't know if it was a real solid one. I can feel it burning. What you doing, you little bugger? Okay. That is that one. And I'm gonna move to the next one and see. Now what might happen with that, since they were already working on queen cells, they may go ahead and swarm out of that box. But they might only swarm, I don't know. We're gonna see. They might not swarm with as big of a swarm, and they might swarm, I mean, all the bees that are in the top, they're gonna get out and they're gonna go back into the bottom the way they normally have the field bees. So all the bees are gonna be in the bottom. And what I'm gonna wanna do is, hopefully the queen will be in the bottom, and we'll discuss this. The way that you do this is you're hoping that they aren't swarming yet. That's thing one. And if they aren't, when you separate that scent, they're gonna make an emergency cell in the box that the queen isn't. That's what we were talking about. Now, after 6 or 8 days, you check it, you make sure that there's some swarm cells, or some emergency cells, and you make sure that the queen is laying in the one box and there's emergency cells in the other box, and you'll take the box with the queen and you're gonna move her to a different area. Whether it's the top box or the bottom box, the box with the queen, you're gonna move her out of the way. And the box with the emergency cells, they are going to they're making their own queen. So what you're doing is you're gonna give them a little bit of help. All the field bees that flew out, they know a pattern to fly from this box out to wherever they're getting all their nectar and pollen to come back to this exact spot. So by moving the bees, the box with the queen, you're moving her out of the way. She's gonna continue to lay eggs and have larvae and the brood in it. The other box isn't gonna have any eggs yet. So you're building up their bee numbers to try to keep up with the queen that's continually laying eggs and continually building up her numbers. This one's gonna get all the field bees, that one's gonna get all the larvae. You'll have a little bit of larvae in the one that stays, but not as much as the other one's gonna continually have. You're waiting for her to emerge, go get bred, and then start laying eggs. It's gonna take her a little while to catch up, but she will eventually. She's gonna be behind a little bit, but she's gonna have all the field bees. So that's the concept. So what we're going to do is we'll come in here and move the box out of the way that doesn't have the queen. We'll come back and we'll see what one has eggs in it. We'll move the other one out of the way, or leave that one there and move the other one with the queen out of the way. So that's the plan, and we're gonna go on to the next box just to check and see what's going on. Well, that was a lot more than I had planned when I wanted to do the double screen separator boards. But I knew with catching a couple swarms and with seeing what we saw, that there was a good chance that a lot of these hives were looking to swarm. So I'm hoping that what we did with this one, with the separator board, was the right move. We're gonna find out. I didn't see any cells in there at the time. So, and then the one over here looked to me like they were queenless. I didn't see any brood in there, so that must have happened recently. Whether they, I don't know exactly, whether they swarmed and they didn't make any queen or what happened, but now we have queen cells in there. This one has queen cells, and whether they swarm or not, I don't know what's going to happen. But they had queen cells and brood. They had supersedure cells and swarm cells. So it's kind of a mixed bag right now. What's going on in the apiary? We have 3 swarms that we've caught that we need to build up. We have a hive that we split due to one of the swarms, and we have everything else going on. So I took that double separator board mission and kind of threw a couple of curveballs. We still got the double separator board completed, and we'll be back in that in a week just to see if we have laying queen going on in one box and swarm cells in the other, or emergency cells in the other box, and see if it worked for us. And then we got to check everything else out too. We've got to really stay on top of these bees because we want them to build so that we can get some honey. And June is coming around the corner, so we got to build these girls up so that they can work the fields and work the trees and everything. So that was my attempt at the double screened separator board. Next year, the 1st of May, I'll be attempting this. Maybe sooner, depending on the weather. Okay, well that's the end of the video. Thanks for swinging by. Any comments, leave them below. Let me know what I did wrong. I'm sure to a bunch of beekeepers I probably did a bunch wrong. Just doing what I think was the best by looking at each box individually. That's gonna be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you keep swinging back for more, and I love the comments. And that's gonna be it. We love you, God loves you, and we'll see you on the next one, and happy beekeeping. See you later. One last piece. I got into this one, which is kind of an oddball. It has 2 deeps and a medium super. And what happened was, going into winter, I had just 1 deep that was a weak colony, and I had a full box of honey in this super, and I gave that to them to help them make it through the winter, and they made it through, which was awesome. Problem is the queen made her way up into this box during winter, and as spring was starting to come, she started laying in this and filled this with brood. I put another box on and tried to get them to work that, and this is about a quarter of the way full of honey now, but there's a lot of brood in it still. Now when I was in the bottom box, there was some brood, but not a lot, and they weren't using that box very much. The middle box here, they were using a lot. I thought I saw some queen cells in there that they were starting, but they were more like queen cups, like they were practicing, but the box isn't full enough for them to want to swarm, which was great. So what I did was I went through the bottom box looking for the queen. I separated all 3 boxes. Looked through the bottom box, didn't find her. Looked through the medium, the honey super here, didn't find her. Went through this box, and about, I think it was the 4th or 5th frame, I found the queen. There was a lot of brood in there, and some freshly laid eggs. So what I did, since she wasn't using the bottom box, and since I didn't want her to continue laying in this medium here, I took the frame that she was on and the one she was next to, and I put them both down in the bottom and brought frames from there up. There are fresh laid eggs in this one that they should be able to use to make queen cells. That's going to allow all this brood to emerge, and it's going to allow the queen to lay in the bottom, and hopefully they make a cell in here. This is my best chance at what this double screen separator board is supposed to be. So I'm hoping that it works out, and I'm gonna come back here in 8 days or so and check this one. I'm gonna be checking all of the boxes at the same time, but we're gonna focus on this one and the other one with the double screen separator board, just to see how this experiment worked out. So, God willing, we will have emergency cells, a queen laying, and this emptied out of brood, and we can clean these boxes up, move them like we were going to. All right. I'm glad I got into that one, and I'm glad I was able to figure that out, and I think it's going to work out. Okay. Hey, again, we love you. God loves you. He made these amazing bees that are just so fascinating. Just this one piece of the whole universe is just mind-boggling to create, let alone create everything else that he did. So I'm just so blessed to be able to work with the bees, and I'm learning more every day, every time I'm in them. So, like I said, God loves you. We'll see you next time. Happy beekeeping, and I hope you're enjoying the show. See you later. It's time to clean this place up a little bit. Oh, come on. Let it cool down some more. It's time to clean this place up a little bit.